So if you saw yesterday's video, you know that what we talked about was an interview between Game Informer and Infinity Ward. And in this video yesterday, we talked about new kill streaks being added, the beta, tactical nuke being in the game, and how to earn it. We talked about all of that yesterday, but the one thing we didn't get to was microtransactions, weapons, and weapon camos. This is something that's probably a bigger topic than we talked about yesterday, and I think for the most part, it is a very positive thing that we learned from this interview. Now, microtransactions is a bit of an iffy one, and you're going to see exactly what I mean by that when we actually talk about it, but for the most part, the things we're going to talk about today are mostly positive about the game. Now, before we dive in and talk about all of these things, I just wanted to let you guys know about my Instagram. My Instagram is a place that I upload both Call of Duty news to, and on top of that, some things behind the scenes about my real life. So if you're at all interested in checking that out, it'll be the first link down in the description, and if you have Instagram, maybe you're a little bit interested in it. But as far as today's video, the first thing we're going to talk about is the big one. It's the thing that I've seen more people ask questions about than anything I've seen so far with Modern Warfare, and that is microtransactions. I've seen tons of comments, tweets, you name it. People are just curious about what is going on here. And there was basically two big questions that Game Informer asked Infinity Ward, the first of which was, is there going to be new weapons added into the game post-launch? And they answered it very plain, very simple. They simply said yes. That's it. There's going to be DLC weapons. And I think that this is good, especially with the model of game they have laid out, because as we've talked about before, every individual weapon within the game has between 30 and 60 attachments available for that weapon. And adding in a new weapon every once in a while to the game that is going to have between 30 and 60 attachments is awesome. That's a lot of content to add into the game, and because of that, it adds a lot of replayability. But the big question comes in here, how will they be implementing these weapons? And really, if we look back to Infinity Ward's past game, Infinite Warfare, the way that they did it in that game is if you had the Season Pass, you got the DLC weapons for free. If you did not have the Season Pass, you had to complete a challenge that would give you those weapons. I think this is a pretty damn good system. The problem, of course, is, as we know, Modern Warfare is not having a Season Pass, which would mean the only way to get them this way would be unlocking them via challenges. I think that's a good way of adding replayability to the game, the good way of keeping their customers happy. I think it's just a good way of implementing the weapons. I highly doubt it, though. The second option is even better. They just give out the weapon for free to everyone who plays the game. Once again, very, very highly unlikely. Option number 3 that I see is they implement some sort of marketplace where you can literally just direct buy new weapons added into the game. Now, the big problem with that is, of course, that's basically pay to win. You pay, you get a new weapon and potentially a much better weapon than are currently in the game. That's a big problem, especially because we've seen with Call of Duty and Activision, they charge a lot of money. They charge $28 for a melee weapon, so imagine what they would charge for a actual projectile weapon. I couldn't even imagine. And then option number 4, the one that I'm really, really hoping it's not, is supply drops, or loot boxes, or reserves, whatever you want to call it. I don't want that to be the case. I don't want to have to randomly hope to get these new weapons. But we'll have to wait and see. And if they do that, I hope they do something like Modern Warfare or World War II did, where you can literally just buy the weapons with some sort of in-game currency that you don't have to pay for, if they are doing supply drops. But speaking of which, the next question that Game Informer asked is there going to be loot boxes? They just straight up asked them. And their answer worries me. Their answer was no comment. They just straight up said, no comment. We can't talk about it. And that's true. You know, the person who decides the microtransactions is not Infinity Ward, it's Activision, and they can't talk about it until Activision gives them the go-ahead. So obviously, as of right now, they can't talk about it. Now, that's for one of two reasons. Either, yes, they are going to be in the game, or 2, they are not decided. I don't think there's an option where they have decided that there is going to be no loot boxes, because if that was the decision, they just straight up come out and tell us, because I think that would make a lot of people really happy and possibly make more people buy the game. The fact that they say no comment either means 1, they are in there, they're going to be coming, or 2, they don't know yet. So the other thing that they said with this, though, is that about camos. So after they talked about loot boxes, they went into talking about camos. They said that camos will not be able to be purchased. They will only be earnable. So in other words, you have to earn them. You have to level up those weapons. You have to complete challenges. And having those camos is basically like a way of showing off and showing, look what I did. I completed these challenges. And I think that that's great. That adds a lot of replayability, and that adds a lot of a grind to the game that I love in Call of Duty. Something like Hero Gear that we saw in Black Ops 3 was a perfect example of that. Now, they also went on to say that weapon customization is going to be as close to real life as possible. And in other words, the camos are going to be somewhat realistic, something that someone could literally paint onto their weapon. It's not going to be something like Black Ops 4 has, where some of the weapons literally have dragons and wings and stuff like that coming off the weapons. So it's at least going to be somewhat down to earth. And I believed them with this until I saw what they released today. Earlier today, they showed off a pre-order bonus that people are going to get in-game, and it included a calling card, an emblem, and a weapon charm. You guys can answer this down in the comments. Does anybody actually care about weapon charms? Out of all of the Call of Duty games that they have been in, I have never cared about weapon charms. Not only that, I never actually put the weapon charms on my weapons. I never used them. I couldn't care less about weapon charms, and the fact that they're adding them in has me a little bit worried, because this is something I can absolutely see them putting in supply drops, and something I can see them making so you have to unlock it for every individual weapon, which means the supply drop pool is going to be diluted, and then when they actually eventually put weapons in there, it just... that has me worried. The weapon charm really, really has me worried, but like we're going to say many times throughout this video, only time will tell whether or not loot boxes will be there, and whether or not those weapon charms will be inside there as well. Now, the next thing that they talked about is the actual leveling and unlocking things for your weapons. So the way that this is going to work is every single weapon is going to have 30 to 60 attachments. And the way that you unlock these attachments is kind of old school. So the first way is simply by leveling up your weapon, like we've seen in the past few Call of Duty games. The second way is what they used to do in Modern Warfare 2. So if you remember back to Modern Warfare 2, let's say you're using the AK-47. If you got 25 kills with the AK-47, you would unlock the red dot sight. Now, to unlock the holographic sight, you had to get 50 kills using the red dot sight. And what this did is forced you to play the game a different way, forced you to use different attachments than you'd normally use, and play the game just a little bit differently. And I think this is an awesome way of actually doing this, because with all of these attachments in the game, it'll actually force you to try out different things, force you to play the gun you love a little bit differently. Maybe you have to play it as a longer range weapon or a shorter range weapon by using these different attachments to unlock the ones you actually want. So that I am really excited about. Not only will there be traditional weapon leveling, there will also be this other way of unlocking attachments as well. Now, the other thing that they got asked was about weapon inspects. Was there going to be weapon inspects in the game at launch? Because as of right now, in the alpha and in the reveal, there's been no weapon inspects. And they said that it's something that they are working on, but it'll probably not be there at launch. Possibly later, though. So they didn't confirm that it's going to be in the game, but they also didn't confirm that it wasn't going to be in the game. Now, out of everything we're talking about today, most of these things I'm excited about. I'm excited that there's going to be 30 to 60 attachments per weapon. I'm excited that you're going to be able to unlock them through leveling weapons and through using different attachments. I'm excited that weapon camos are going to be something that you have to work for, earn, and something you can show off on your weapon. The one thing I am still worried about is frickin' loot boxes. If anyone from Infinity Ward or anyone from Activision is watching this, here's what I will say. I know straight up that in Black Ops 4, you have made a lot of money off of reserves. You just have. Even though I don't buy any and a lot of other YouTubers don't buy any of these, I know you have made a lot of money off of these reserves. But you could have made a lot more money off of making a better game, introducing a good microtransaction system. More people would stay with your game, and in the long run, you would make more money. Fortnite is the best example of this. I know not everyone loves Fortnite, but you have to admit, a lot of people play the damn game, and they don't introduce pay-to-win microtransactions, so people don't mind spending their money on these cosmetic items to look different in game, to customize their character. And if you make a good game, people are gonna spend money on it. And I think that's what it comes down to, but I think all Activision is currently seeing is, oh, well, if we put supply drops in, we make a lot of money. But I honestly think there's an opportunity there for them to make a lot more money than with a shitty supply drop system. But hey, that's my opinion. And if you are going to introduce a supply drop system, at least do it like World War II or COD Modern Warfare Remastered did, where you have an in-game currency where you can go ahead and actually purchase the weapons you want. At least do that. But anyway, that's super off topic. At this point, you can let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm pretty excited about these weapon camos that we're going to see. I'm pretty excited about just hopping in the game and leveling up weapons, unlocking different attachments. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But that's what I have to say about it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. And as always, if you're new to the channel and like what you see here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you turn notifications on. We are so damn close to 500,000 subscribers. So if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, guys, peace out.
Listen.